comienza con un origen común, caótico e inesperado. Es ese camino espiralado.
And we hear someone who is explaining
Por profundidades temerosas, pero también
and this young person is describing the meanings of the paintings that I described earlier.
produce la magia en el encuentro con los otros.
It sounded like she was explaining that it shows the beginning of the way.
Como a minha tela. Pinto com a minha imaginação.
Another young person is continuing the explanation.
Bom dia, Santo Padre. Bem-vindo mais uma vez à nossa casa de escolas. Esta vez,
We now have the president who is welcoming
especificamente en el corazón del
the
mural
Holy
más grande
the Holy Father.
Aquí concluyen más de 3 kilómetros y medio
No,
de
okay,
encuentros
now
entre
they're-
jóvenes reclusos, niños huérfanos,
they are
ancianos, personas con discapacidad, refugiados.
They're going to be
funcionarios del
presenting
gobierno,
a mural.
personas
It's 3
hospitalizadas,
kilometers long, and
empresarios,
perhaps this is
personas sin techo,
part of what
escuelas
we're
públicas,
seeing here.
privadas, universidades, todos. Foram mais de 5.000 pessoas e mais de 100 instituições que se juntaram para partilhar o próprio caos com nós outros e encontrar juntos sentido.
All of this is very spontaneous, so we don't have
Nos acompanham
translations
alguns
of
protagonistas,
what these
os
young
nossos
people
jovens
are
das escolas,
saying.
que além de tornar-se educadores, terminaram este percurso fazendo deste espaço uma grande obra de arte. Mas são eles, muito melhor que eu, que podem contar as suas vivências e também fazerem algumas perguntas que surgiram das suas experiências. Força, Lashi!
Bom dia. Escolas, escolas, escolas. Quando me foi apresentado, não tive dúvidas em aceitar e abraçar, porque é um espaço onde todos partilham as suas emoções e sentimentos. É um espaço onde cada um contribui com aquilo que tem de valores éticos e morais para o bem-estar da comunidade, independentemente da sua religião ou origem. Sou guineense, da Guiné-Bissau, e sou muçulmano, mas sinto-me neste espaço, e como sendo muçulmano, sinto a obrigação
He's
e dever
explaining
de
that
me juntar e fazer
This
parte
mission
deste
goes
movimento.
beyond
Porque o que o Islão também apela
the people
é a boa
who
convivência entre
participate,
as crenças,
especially
entre as
those-
diferentes crenças.
because
Apela e zela pelo bem-estar da comunidade. Apela
he's saying that it's a community that welcomes all sorts of people.
aquilo que devemos fazer, pelo cuidado que devemos ter com o próximo. E por essa razão, gostaria de
It's been a
perguntar,
lively experience, really remarkable, because he's had the opportunity to be with people of different religions and cultures, people with
porquê
disabilities,
de tanta diversidade
and there's a
para
lot of
ter uma obra de arte.
diversity.
Obrigado.
I think that it's a work of art that a lot of different cultures and different faiths have been participating.
Scholas posibilita esto, que cada uno se sienta interpretado
Everyone needs to
por el gran respeto,
feel that they have something to give,
pero es un respeto no
and
estático,
we need to have a lot of
que
respect,
pone en marcha.
a respect that's dynamic, not static, that makes us move to do things in order to
Esta pintura,
express
que, como
by
me decía
doing.
el Corral, es una capilla sistina pintada por
It's
ustedes.
like So what you've created is like the Sistine Chapel, except it's been painted by you. And Scholas expects you to respect others because others also have something to say to you. And even you have something to say, and Scholas can help you see the way that's ahead of you so that you can get up and walk and journey toward others. It's a way to meet others by walking. From the country that you have and from the religion that you belong to, it's to walk forward, walking together. Just like these 3.5 kilometers of mural that you have painted.
Eu queria seguir pouco na direção da diversidade para entrar no tema que foi a base dos nossos 2 meses de trabalho, que é o caos. Nós, enquanto grupo, e eu também individualmente, tivemos a oportunidade de visitar várias comunidades diferentes,
been able to visit various
que são de religiões diferentes, são de
communities,
culturas diferentes,
different cultures.
De aprofundar cada vez mais,
and
não só
through this he's been able to
da própria pessoa, mas também
deepen things within himself, but also about the community, in order to discover
que elas tinham, as verdadeiras dores que elas sentiam, e com isso dar a oportunidade a elas de representarem tudo isso com uma pincelada, com uma linha no mural, dar a oportunidade de se expressarem. E isso, querendo ou não, afeta a nós, toca o nosso coração.
All of this can touch our hearts.
Temos esse sentimento? Será que essas dores fazem parte do nosso convívio? Então, queria perguntar, o que seria da nossa existência sem o caos original? Obrigado.
I haven't picked up everything, but our Holy Father will now also be responding to this young man.
Vos decís caos. Está bien.
You're talking about chaos and you're talking about crisis.
¿Sabes de dónde viene la palabra?
Do you know where the word crisis comes from?
Se cosechaba el trigo, se pasaba por una zaranda.
When you sift flour, it's the sifter, and the crisis within a person is like this. So when things happen in life, problems that we have, you have to choose. A life without crisis is a life that doesn't have color. You like to drink water. If I give you distilled water, you wouldn't like it. Distilled water is water without crisis. So a life without crisis is like distilled water. It doesn't have taste or anything. It's useless. It's only worth keeping. That's it. The crisis, we need to assume crises, and we need to resolve them. And to create a crisis isn't good. That would be like just staying like a dog trying to catch its tail.
Y eso también es importante en el grupo de escuela. Caminar juntos para.
It's also good to confront crises together, so that we're not alone in them, and we move forward and we can grow this way. Good, good. Keep moving ahead.
Nestes 2 últimos meses trabalhámos muito para conseguir fazer o mural que viu lá fora, mas este mural realmente representa o caos. O caos que muitas vezes, quando o vivemos e quando o vivemos de perto, não o compreendemos e é uma grande confusão, parecem só linhas aleatórias. Mas a verdade é que chega um ponto em que nós nos distanciamos. E nessa distância começamos a
Once again, we're hearing the theme chaos, and that chaos sometimes hits us in the face. We don't know how to respond to it.
Muitas vezes apenas vemos ou apenas sentimos, mas sim conseguimos expressá-lo. E para mim, por exemplo, foi uma experiência muito grande, porque também já vivi momentos de muito caos na minha vida, acho que todos nós vivemos.
It sounds like she's saying that she has experienced a lot of chaos in her life, and she's been trying to reflect on how to respond to chaos.
Porque buscamos este sentido, e todos nós buscamos este sentido profundo de perceber.
And she's been trying to understand how to respond to chaotic situations.
Queríamos perguntar-lhe o que tipo enquanto passou neste mural.
It seems like the mural itself is an expression of how these young people have been reflecting on the theme of chaos.
E antes de responder, queríamos também.
It looks like part of it is the creation event, where, as we know, chaos is one of the words used in the translation of the account. And so in everyone's name, they're offering the gift of a paintbrush to the Holy Father, which they would have used to create this mural. There's someone who said that the journey of man and women, of human life, is to create out of chaos the cosmos, to move from what is disordered and chaos to create a cosmos out of it, something that has meaning, but it's open, it's inviting, and inclusive. And I don't want to become a catechist here, but if we look at the structure of the narration of creation, it's mythical. And out of myths, it's a way of knowing. It's a way of creating meaning. And so whoever created that creation myth, in parentheses, that person wrote it many, many years after the experience of creation itself. And it was actually written many, many years after the Exodus experience. And so they were reflecting on how that chaos was transformed, and they're using a very poetic language to understand how God one day creates the light and then continues to create other things, transforming the chaos into the cosmos. And in our lives, the same thing happens. There are moments of crisis, and they're chaotic. And someone might even know if they're on their feet, and sometimes they're dark moments. And this is the personal work that a person goes through, but also we're helped by people who accompany us in order to create this cosmos. There's a lot of, and even in the Sistine Chapel, we see how the cosmos is created out of the chaos, but we also see it among you. Never forget this. Out of a chaos, a cosmos can come out, and this is everyone's journey. A life that remains at a chaotic level is a life that never conquers, but one who's never experienced crisis or chaos is a distilled life. Everything's perfect. It's a distilled life. It doesn't give life. And it's a way of dying, but there's life where there's chaos.
fue transformando la vida personal o la vida de relaciones en un cosmos. Chapeau.
A life that is transformed into a cosmos.
Muchas gracias, Papa Francisco, por tus palabras. Gracias. É uma alegria para nós concluir assim este caminho, mas apesar desta experiência terminar,
It's a joy for us to conclude this journey with the hope that what we have painted will not end,
decidimos chamar este projeto
but will open another
de
path.
facto tudo mural, é uma experiência e uma expressão da vida que nasce
In
do
fact,
encontro de tantas realidades diferentes.
Each part of the mural has been an experience.
E reunir o mundo físico com o mundo virtual. Vamos a pedirte,
It's
querido Francisco,
a
que nos
synthesis
acompañes hasta la pared
of
que
the
tienes
artistic
atrás
world and the virtual world.
y nos regales la última pincelada de este mural. Pero
And
con
so
un
they're
pincel
going to
muy
be
particular, capaz de que sea
unveiling the
un
last
proyecto,
part
una
of
nueva obra
the
virtual
mural.
que va a conseguir reunir las diferentes comunidades de escuelas en todo el mundo.
Papa Francisco, el video, el pincel virtual que hablaba Eugenia, es un arma para la paz.
And what he's holding up is a virtual
Vas a gatillar acá,
paintbrush.
pero en vez de matar, con esta pincelada que vas a
He
dar
said
en la pared,
it seems like a
también vas a
pistol,
estar
but because
dándola
you have
en el
to
mundo virtual.
press a button, it kind of looks like a
Este
gun.
momento,
But
hay chicos de escuelas en
when you
Mozambique
press it, it gives you access to the
tienen
virtual
puesto
world.
un artefacto en Mozambique, en Tofo, para ver tu pincelada que vas a hacer ahora y seguirla en el mundo virtual. Porque los jóvenes
And
quieren
so
que seas
all
vos
over
el
the
que una
world,
el mundo
other
físico
people will be able
con el
to
mundo
see the
virtual,
Pope's
para que el mundo
paint
virtual
strokes all
pueda
over the
crecer
world.
concreto
And
y
so in
comprometido con la
this way we can see how the virtual world can unite. And so this is a digital paintbrush that the Holy Father, it seems, will be using in order to paint something on the mural in order to give him the possibility of painting and this and now he's trying out this. Oh, we see him. It actually paints on the wall. The Pope is enjoying himself as he has used the paintbrush, virtual paintbrush, with green paint, and he's adding his own touch to the mural on the wall. And those who are here now are expressing their applause. Here, too, is the President of the Republic, it seems, who's been accompanying the Holy Father throughout the trip. He was also present yesterday, or this morning, rather, with the university students at the University of Portugal. The gift now is being presented of an icon. It's the story of the Good Samaritan.
Está eximido de ser un buen samaritano. Es una obligación que todos tenemos. Cada uno tiene que buscar.
None of us are exempt from being a good Samaritan. The Holy Father is saying each one of us should be a good Samaritan.
Resulta que el buen samaritano se encuentra
And the Good Samaritan
tirado en el suelo.
we can see on the ground,
Pero antes pasó un levita, pasó un sacerdote.
but we also see those who passed by first, the Levite and the priest, and they went by in a hurry,
Los más que estaban apurados,
and they didn't pay any attention to
no
the man
podían
on the
tocarlo
ground.
porque había sangre, un hombre
They
vivo.
couldn't touch him because there was blood.
El que tocaba
And according to the
la
law
sangre
of that
quedaba
time,
impuro.
anyone who touched blood
No sé por cuánto tiempo,
was
tenía que
impure
purificar. Entonces, eso le
and had to
impedía
purify
el que te ve
himself. And
no
so
tocar.
that
No,
impeded
te toco, soy puro, no me quiero.
anyone with blood, it was a person couldn't touch them.
No se olviden eso. ¿Cuántas veces puede pasar por nuestra mente?
So this is the gift that we see our Holy Father will be leaving with the
¿Cuántas veces se
headquarters?
prefiere la pureza ritual?
How many times we prioritize legal purity to getting near to other people. The Good Samaritan at that time would have been an idea that was really strange. And yet, this other person who was coming, he may have been a merchant. He sees the man and he feels compassion. I'm going to ask you a question. What makes you feel compassion? Or do you have a really dried up, shriveled heart that you can't feel compassion? And so what happened? The man brings the wounded man to an inn. And he found a room for the man, and he says, "Look, I'll be back after a few days, and I'll leave this money with you, and if there's something else that I need to pay later." This is someone who paid well. So there's the Good Samaritan who took care of the person, and then we also see the other two with their backs are kind of turned away so that they don't get impure. And Jesus he's pointing to the person who had compassion. This person is near to the reign of kingdom because he had compassion. Where am I here in this picture? Am I helping the person? Or am I dirtying my hands? At times in life, we need to get our hands dirty in order not to get our hearts dirty. Our Holy Father explaining to the young people here the icon that he's leaving as his gift to the headquarters of Scholas Occurrentes here in Cascais in Portugal. And he's giving them a blessing, but he's saying, that I want you to promise that you will also bless me.
Abençoe-vos, Deus Todo-Poderoso, Pai, Filho, Espírito Santo. Recen por mí.
Pray for me. And if you can't pray, or if you don't feel that way to pray for me, send me good thoughts. Holy Father, surrounded here with this mural that we've been hearing about from these young people who themselves have painted it.
A nos acompanhar para a bendição da videira, ritual da escola e símbolo do encontro entre mundos diferentes.
And so there was a final greeting. And they're going to be greeting him outside. It seems like this is something that they do here at this place. So they'll be greeting the Holy Father forward, as is their custom. Our Holy Father taking place in this unscripted meeting with young people who partake of the movement that he himself had a hand in establishing in Buenos Aires. Our Holy Father also this morning, when he celebrated Mass in private, met with the family of a woman who came from France who died suddenly in an accident where she was staying in Lisbon. So our Holy Father himself being the Good Samaritan to this family who suddenly lost their loved one, a 62-year-old catechist who came to Lisbon for World Youth Day and instead died accidentally. We now hear the farewell, customary, of Scholas Occurrentes.
Tudo que é meu, Senhor, leva tudo o que é meu. São alegrias e são tristezas, são os meus dias, toda a beleza que sempre encontro em meu viver. Senhora, venho agradecer. Senhora, venho agradecer o amor que sinto em seu olhar, calma que encontro em seu escutar. Senhor, aceita o meu recado. Senhor, leva tudo que é meu, assim me encontro ajoelhado, assim me dou ao Filho teu. Amor que sinto em seu olhar, calma que encontro em seu escutar.
The Holy Father is now leaving the building where he's been meeting with the young people from Scholas Occurrentes. He's now with the president or the director of this particular facility. His name is Jose Maria del Corral, and together with Pope Francis, they're giving the finishing touches to the planting of this olive tree. It's a symbol of peace.
Muito obrigada, Cuca, embaixadora da Scholas em Portugal, por nos acompanhar com o teu talento desde a origem deste espaço. E se falamos de origem, falamos de dois grandes símbolos de escolas, Oliveira e a bola de cá, sinônimo de gratidão e beleza.
The song that we heard is one characteristic of greeting in Portugal. People from the area were in a neighborhood, and other people have been watching from the windows in the areas. Some children have just approached the Holy Father, and the Pope Francis is autographing. It looks like a ball, but it has something wrapped around it. So some child here in Portugal now has an autographed ball. A handball, I think it's a handball, which is very popular in Portugal. And our Holy Father now taking the microphone.
Que nos sigan con el corazón. Que el Señor los bendiga.
who is blessing the olive tree that he's helped plant, give the finishing touches to the planting of this olive tree. And now with a watering can, he's also giving it a bit of water. There's a hole dug in the ground, and the olive trees are still in the original pots from the nursery, and so those will be transferred now. And there's a few different olive plants now that we see it from a bit from a distance. So it looks like they'll have a few olive trees that will be planted there. And from we can get the feel of the surrounding town. And we hear now the singing of the Ave Maria.
Dando alegria, Nosso Senhor convosco está, e a nós nos dá todo o seu amor. Rogai por nós, os pecadores, das nossas dores, ouvi a voz, e na agonia, quando chegar, seja.
At this point, our Holy Father is being aided back into the car. He will be traveling by car back to the Apostolic Nunciature, where he will dine in private. It's just about 11:15 right now in Portugal. Father with a beautiful smile on his face as he waves goodbye as the car begins to take him back on his journey to the Apostolic Nunciature. Those who have met with him now taking their leave of him as well. Again, here we see it. He's been meeting in the neighborhood of Cascais. As we said, a port town, a tourist destination that also became the home to the last exiled king of Italy when the Republic of Italy was formed. And as we see these last images here from Cascais, we now bring this live broadcast to an end. This is the second event of the Pope's second day on his 42nd apostolic journey here to Portugal, where he has met with students who participate in the Scholas Occurrentes program, of which he himself founded when he was the Cardinal Archbishop of Buenos Aires. We invite you back at 4:45 local Portugal time, when we will be broadcasting the World Youth Day welcome ceremony from Eduardo VII Park in our continuing coverage of Pope Francis's 42nd apostolic journey. I invite you to visit the Vatican News web portal, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter accounts, where you will always find coverage of all Pope Francis events during his apostolic journey. And on behalf of Vatican Media, thank you to Daniele Giorgio, our coordinator, and Jean-Charles Pozzolou, and for all who've made this broadcast possible. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ.